Psalm 37, 23 through 26 says, "The steps of a man are established by the Lord, and he delights in his way. When he falls, he will not be hurled headlong, because the Lord is the one who holds his hand. I have been young and I am old, and yet I have not seen the righteous forsaken, or his descendants begging for bread. All day long he is gracious and he lends, and his descendants are a blessing." Well, if you're joining us in reading through this 6-month reading plan through the book of Psalms, today's reading is Psalm 37, verses 13 through 27, and I encourage you to read that section. Well, David continues in the psalm, and he again compares and contrasts those who are righteous and those who are unrighteous. Today, I'd like to look at the result of being righteous before God. In verse 23, David tells us that the steps of a man are established by the Lord. That's very interesting because the root meaning of this word is to bring something into being with the consequences that its existence is a certainty. So the steps of a man who has a relationship with God are established, and God delights in what this man does wherever he goes. But God also recognizes that there are times when the man is going to stumble. God recognizes our nature. God recognizes our propensity for sin. God recognizes that there are times when we frankly lose sight of him. But David tells us that we will not be hurled headlong into oblivion because it is God who is holding our hand. I'd like you to think of it this way. Picture a person who is elderly and can't walk or stand without assistance, or a person who has a stroke. And while in the hospital, the physical therapist will wrap a belt around this person, and he or she will hold onto that belt while the person walks. If the person stumbles, the physical therapist will be able to hold them up so they will not fall. This is exactly the meaning of the word, that the person will not fall headlong. Now, in addition, David makes an observation that he has not seen those who are righteous forsaken by God, or his descendants begging for bread. Now, that doesn't mean the descendants or even the righteous man will not fall at times on hard times, and he may need assistance from others. But God will direct those people to a person who will supply the need, and they will not need to beg. David makes one final observation here, and this is critical to our understanding of someone who is righteous. The person who is righteous is gracious, and he lends. The word lend here has a very interesting meaning in Hebrew. It means that that person is tied to another through an action. When we lend to others, we become part of them. And that means that we care about them and that they are to be with us. Lending something in the Old Testament does not come with interest. Leviticus 25:35 and following forbid the lending of money for interest at all. So we can do no less as believers in Christ. We are to support our brothers and sisters and help those who are in need, that they will become our brothers and sisters in Christ. And if you would like a PDF copy of this entire reading plan, please send an email to phineasjacobus@runningtohim.net.